WVW Broadcast Network is pleased to present House to House with your hosts, Brannon and Melissa K. Howse. From cooking, decor, tablescapes, home improvement, and on-location reports that highlight American history, ingenuity, and free market capitalism that makes America great. And now, here are your hosts, Brannon and Melissa K.
And welcome to another episode of House to House. I'm Brannon.
And I'm Melissa K.
And we're glad you're with us. In our last episode, we were in the museum of Laura Ingalls Wilder. And in today's show, we're going to take you into the home. They were so gracious and kind. They let us set up all of our cameras inside the very home of Laura Ingalls Wilder. We're going to show you that interview, a lot of B-roll footage of, very interesting things. Melissa, I remember one of the things we're going to see is Laura Ingalls Wilder's favorite hat. We're also going to see her last Montgomery Ward's catalog. I mean, think about Amazon today.
That's where she ordered everything.
That's where she ordered everything. What did she order?
She ordered her floor for her bedroom from
the linoleum
Montgomery Ward's.
Yeah, from 1930s.
Right.
And it's
the
original
still
one.
there. Right.
Yeah, we were standing on it.
It's really pretty.
It was.
It's kind of a blue tile type look to it, but it's linoleum.
But she got it from the Montgomery Ward catalog. Her last catalog was in her
What about her
bedroom.
china? Did you get a picture of her china?
Oh yeah, I got all that. Yeah, well, you guys were chit-chatting. I was around B-roll footage, everything.
She uses beautiful china every day. It's a blue and white china, and they used it every day, and that's on display in their house.
Almanzo's nightshirt, we'll see that.
Right.
And then let's see. Oh, they never had a television set. She told us they never had a TV set, which I thought was interesting because she passed away in 1957, so she had the chance to have a TV set, and of course she ended up.
I think she read a lot.
I think she did.
She had a library. She had a library off her.
I think
family
she also
room.
wrote a lot.
She wrote 4 books in that house, right?
Yeah, she did. She wrote 4 books in that house and 4 in the other.
I think she was either writing a book or reading.
Yeah.
and he was real crafty.
He was. Crafty in a good way.
He built a lot of things. He built,
Exactly.
They had beams in their ceiling, and
the wood came from the property.
From the property.
Yeah.
He
made some lamps.
There was lamps in their home that he had built, and then she had the lampshades made, or she would make the lampshades. And his little bedside table that was next to his bed.
Yep.
He made that.
Yep. And he made a stool that she could put her feet up on because she was only how tall?
I think she was 4'11".
4'11".
And he also made her countertop short.
Yeah, I could have used
her
those
whole
countertops.
kitchen was for
Small.
her. Yeah, it was really neat.
He could have made me a kitchen. And then I noticed that the sink he had where she would dry her dishes, and he made it so
had a
that
slope.
Yeah, the board that the dishes would sit
to
on.
dry on.
Yeah, water would run right into the sink.
Right.
Yeah.
He was talented.
He was.
He made
very
his own
talented.
shoes.
Yeah, he had to. He has a club foot.
Right.
Yeah.
And he made his own canes. The canes are on display. Did you get a photo of that?
I got all that, yeah. Okay. Showed that last week. And then after we have that little visit, we're going to go into the kitchen, or actually bring the kitchen to us. And what are we going to make?
We are going to make chicken pot pie and then baked apples.
Why?
And I chose that because Laura Ingalls Wilder, that was one of her favorite recipes. And in her cookbook, she made both of those recipes. And Brannon loves chicken pot pie.
Yes, I
and
do.
her recipe was very similar to the recipe I make. So I just thought that would fit well with this episode.
How many times a year do I ask for chicken pot pie?
Quite often.
Quite often, yeah. Have to get your vegetables and your meat all in one
And it's a really easy recipe. So I'm trying to make the recipes easy and so that people can actually make them.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to show them how to bypass having to start with scratch for the crust.
Right. I mean, they can make their own crust if they prefer, but you can also use a store-bought crust. And I'm trying to make things more user-friendly so people actually want to cook and it's not so much of a chore. Because I know people are busy.
And then baked apples.
Right, and baked apples.
When we were in the store and museum in Mansfield, Missouri, I picked this up. I had to come away with something. And I noticed what it was right away. And maybe if you're not an expert on Laura Ingalls Wilder like I am, then, in Los Prairie, then maybe you won't know what this is. But as soon as I saw this, I knew what it was. Because in one of the books, and I think also the television episode.
It was on a television show as
yeah,
well.
and one of the books too. She talks about getting a tin cup for Christmas and a peppermint stick.
And wasn't that her favorite present? I mean,
It was one of them. A tin cup, a peppermint stick, and a penny. And at the bottom of the cup is they glued a penny. And so when I saw this for sale there in the museum, I thought I have to have that because I knew right away what it was referring to. But then again, I know a lot about Lost on the Prairie. Don't judge, We all have our favorite shows.
Well, it was really popular when we were
kids. We've been married almost 30 years, and you pretty much have known that I watched Lost on the Prairie.
Well, we both grew up in it. Yeah. I loved it.
I still watch it, though.
Right.
I own a lot of the episodes on DVD.
I watched it every Monday night.
I
couldn't wait for that show to come on.
I love the show. All right, so
wish there were still shows like that.
I know, isn't that the truth? Maybe one day we'll expand our TV network and start our own TV series, kind of get our own family-friendly show. I mean, this is kind of a family-friendly show, isn't it?
I hope so.
I mean, the family's all here. Well, pretty much. They're offset, and she's here.
The family's helping.
Yeah, my dogger's right there. All right, so we're going to go to our little interview inside Laura Ingalls Wilder's home, and then we'll have a break, and then come back and make
chicken pot pie and baked apples.
And again, all these recipes are on her website at housetohouse.com. Show 3, because it's important you know what show it is, because that's how we have all the information laid out there. Show number 3 of House to House at housetohouse.com. All right, let's go to that interview we conducted inside the home of Laura Ingalls Wilder in Mansfield, Missouri. All right, we are now in what is called the farmhouse. It's a beautiful white home. Now, it's different from the stone house that was built by Rose Wilder for her mother, Laura Ingalls Wilder. But the home we're in now is the actual home of Laura Ingalls Wilder. And joining us now is one of the tour guides of the home, and that's Rhonda. Rhonda, thank you for being with us today.
Well, thanks for being here.
Well, how long have you been a guide here?
This is my 11th season.
11th season, so I guess you know quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
Hopefully.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. All right, so right now we're in the living room of Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Yes.
This is one of the homes that she wrote the books in. She wrote the books in the stone house and then the farmhouse, half and half, correct?
Yes, the first 4 books were written in the stone house, and then the last 4 were written here.
And what years did she live in this house?
They started with 1 room, which is the kitchen today, and 1896. It took them 17 years to build this house, 1 room or 1 section at a time. They completed this section in 1913.
Now, she passed away in February of 1957?
Yes.
And by May of that year, this was a museum, right?
Yes.
So this is original. We even came in a while ago, the doorknob wasn't working, and you said that's an original doorknob.
Yes.
So
yes.
Everything in this house is pretty much original, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And it's her furniture.
Yes, it is. It sure
so
is.
when she left it in 1957, and you guys in February, and you guys came in here in May, this is the way it was.
Yes. When Laura died, Rose locked the door, and when she could, Rose donated the home, all of the contents in the home, and a little land around. And we were able then, in a couple of months, to start visitors coming through.
Amazing. And tell me about what people find the most fascinating about this house. I think the thing that shocked Melissa and I was how beautiful it is.
It's really pretty.
I mean, it's beautiful. The wood beams. It's a very cute house.
Yes, it is. Laura said they used as much material off of the property that they could because it made it more personal to them. And the big oak beams, I can't even imagine how much each one of those weighs.
Yeah. Right.
They're beautiful.
And the rock for the fireplace, the big stones, really they came off of the property, and the big chimney outside, there's a big ravine behind the house, and it used to have cold running spring water in it, but it took Almanzo 40 wagon loads of rock out of the ravine to build the chimney on the outside of the house.
Wow. Yeah. Well, if we were to come through the home on a regular tour,
yes.
What kind of facts would the people hear about Laura Ingalls Wilder and Rose and Almanzo?
Well, about them moving here, the different artifacts that we have in the house, like the clock that she talks about in her book.
Is here in the house?
It's here in the house. Mm-hmm.
What room is it in?
It's in the dining room, and it's in her last book, The First 4 Years. And actually, the clock's one of the few things that was saved out of the fire that burned their home down in De Smet, South Dakota. We have the clock, the Our Daily Bread plate that she talks about in her books, and I believe a few pieces of her wedding china and silverware that was all that was saved. And also, those things survived the 6-week wagon journey it took for them to move from De Smet, South Dakota to Mansfield, Missouri.
Brought those with them all the way by wagon.
Yes.
And so people identify with those items because they read about those in the book.
Yes.
Books, I should say, plural.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
What other interesting facts in this house that personally, Rhonda, what do you find interesting about the house?
The library.
Really? Tell me about that.
I love the library.
The library's right back here.
Right off to our left.
There are 4 shelves. They go all the way around. And the thing is that when they first started building the house, Almanzo told Laura, he said, "You design it and I'll build it." And so pretty much the house is Laura's creation. But the library, I just love the library.
Wow, she did a wonderful job creating it.
Yes,
It's so well preserved, and it's just.
They said she went through a lot of magazines to design this section of the house.
She was very creative.
Yes, very, very, very talented.
Right.
Very talented.
Now, how many bedrooms are in the house? I noticed there's a little upstairs. And
There's Laura and Almanzo's bedroom,
I saw-
and then above the dining room was Rose's bedroom as a child.
Okay, and that's the steep stairway?
Yes, yes. And then there's a guest bedroom above us. And then as an adult, the whole back side of the house, there's 3 rooms at the back side of the house, and above that's one long room, and it's called a sleeping porch. And you could say that was Rose's apartment when she lived here those 7.5 years.
Right.
She lived upstairs.
Now, Rose moved back during the Depression.
Well, she moved back, built the rock house for her mom and dad in 28. She had been living in Albania for almost a couple of years.
Wow.
And they were having a lot of civil strife over there. She came back. And then, yes, the Depression. So
Right.
thank goodness she had the house built first. And then she stayed here. She wrote. She ended up writing her most famous book, Let the Hurricane Roar.
Now we're talking about
Rose.
Rose now.
Yes, uh-huh.
So she
And-
wrote one of her most famous books in this house.
Yes, yes. And then she wrote and wrote, picked herself up. They say that she had quite a bit of money invested in the stock market, and so of course she lost quite a bit of that. And so she wrote and wrote, picked herself up, and then she moved first to Columbia, Missouri, and did a project there, and then moved to Danbury, Connecticut, and bought a house. And then Laura and Almanzo moved back home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And this is where she wrote all of the books.
4 of them.
The 4 of them.
The first 4 were written
Okay,
in the rock
that's-
house, and then the last 4 here.
Okay.
So how many years did Laura Ingalls Wilder actually live in this house? How many years?
Oh no, you shouldn't have asked me that. I haven't added that up. I haven't memorized it, but I know they lived in Mansfield, Missouri, for 63 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
And they moved here because of Almanzo's
actually-
health, right?
Well, actually,
get to a warmer
one of their
climate, or-
best friends had come here following an ad. Mansfield, Missouri, land of the big red apple, and from what I understand, he took apples back, and Laura said she had never seen such a big red apple before. But Mr. Cooley, he knew that this area would be good for farming,
Right.
and so both families moved here together.
And
the
it was a milder
Cooleys-
climate.
Yes, yes, it was.
Almanzo's
Farming.
health.
Yes.
How many acres of farmland did they have?
A total of 185, but
Which was a lot of acreage
It
then.
was.
And what were they farming crops? I mean, the land here is pretty rocky. So were they doing crops or were they doing cattle?
They did both. He had, well, cattle, I don't know about that, but he milked.
Okay.
And then she was famous for her chickens. You know, the cartoon Foghorn Leghorn, she had that kind of chicken. Pretty funny. But she fed them some kind of a warm mush every morning.
Really?
And they laid eggs all year round.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So she really knew how to take care of
Yes,
them.
yes.
Wow, that's incredible.
Who is the most famous person that you've seen or heard of coming through that might shock us that's interested in this? This historic house.
Mrs. Bush?
Really?
Oh, wow.
Which one? Now, are we talking Laura or Barbara?
Laura.
George
Wasn't
W.'s
she,
wife.
Yeah, wasn't she a librarian?
Yes.
or a
She was a
teacher?
lib- yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So she came through. Yeah.
And then our director, Mrs. Cody, took her through the home, and everybody else had to stay across the street on the parking lot.
I'm sure. Which of the characters from the TV show have been here to tour the house?
Okay, the doc. I didn't watch the TV
Doc
show. I
Baker.
read the
Doc
I read the
Baker.
Right,
books.
the doc.
Nellie
Okay,
Olson.
Nellie Olson.
Nellie
Yes.
Olson. The
Almanzo.
Miss
He-
Beasley.
Miss Beadle.
Miss Beadle. She's been here a couple of
Yeah,
times, I
yeah, yeah.
believe. Almanzo,
Like you
he's
say,
come
Almanzo
a
comes
few
quite a bit. His name
times.
is Butler in real life, correct?
Yes,
He's been here
yes.
several times, I understand.
Yes.
And you guys do something called what? The Laura Ingalls Wilder's Days?
Yes, that's
What
in
time of
3
year
weeks.
is that?
Third Saturday in September.
Every year, the third
year.
Saturday in September. What
Yes.
happens then? And how many show up for that?
Well, the last 3 years we have had over 1,000 people
That's great.
come, and it builds every year. And usually we have a lot going on the square in town, and then we have an open house here that they can walk through. And this year it's all going to be different. We're going to have everything on our property, on the grounds here.
Good.
Here at the Rock House, at the museum, all the vendors and the special things, spinners and weavers.
So you have people coming through here from all over the country, but probably all over the world too, right?
All over the world, yes. I can't remember what country she was from, but she was a dignitary, and she kind of got special treatment too when she came
bet.
through. So, yeah, it's special. It's just special, and we
Well,
have
it's a
such
beautiful
a
home.
particular clientele. Is that what the word you would use?
Yes.
But it's Laura Ingalls Wilder fans, if you hadn't heard of her or read the books or watched the TV shows, why would you come here? So sometimes we'll get people, they're just like, they're so excited, or we'll take them on a tour and they'll start crying, and I'm like,
they probably feel like she's part of their family.
Yeah.
They grew up.
And people will tell us that it got them through a hard life.
Time in their life.
To read the books. To read the books.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so
What do you find?
special.
Is there a half and half as far as those who've read the books and those who've watched the TV show? Is it half and half, or more read the books?
You know what? More read the books. I don't know if that's surprising or not, but everyone likes the show. But there's a lot of people who read the books who wouldn't watch the show.
Because they feel that the show wasn't as true to the books as they would like it to be?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. They started off pretty good, pretty close to the books, and then it went, it went Hollywood. But a good family show, and it's wonderful that it's still in reruns and everything.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely,
wonderful.
absolutely. Well, you've been very gracious, and we're going to be showing a lot of B-roll footage of the house so people can get a view of it. But people really need to come by here. It's so close to Branson, Missouri. We do a conference every year at Lake of the Ozarks. That's only 90 miles away, so you could make this a part of that trip from the Ozarks to here, Lake of the Ozarks to here. But Branson's not far away. Or if you just, even go an hour or two out of your way or more, it's well worth it. Between the museum and the two homes is very interesting and very historic.
Yes, yeah. We get people who'll see a sign on the road and the woman's like, stop! And they're on their way somewhere.
Right.
But they take the time out.
But they didn't know it was here.
They didn't know
this
it
is
was
kind of almost a well-kept secret. A
Yeah,
lot of people don't know it exists here.
Yeah.
Yes.
They think of Walnut Grove in Minnesota, but they don't really think of Mansfield, Missouri, do they?
They don't. They don't. They'll hear about it in Branson over having breakfast, and they'll overhear someone talking about they had been here or they're coming here, and they'll come up.
Yep. Well, we hope all of you will consider making a stop here, coming by here. It's well worth it. The museum is so professional. The house is just gorgeous, and then there's the stone house, and the tour guides are great. We've met two of them, and they're as gracious off camera as they are on camera. And so I hope that you will make a special trip. And even if you can't, tell someone you know that might be traveling within driving distance of this wonderful historic home to stop off and check out both the homes and the museum. Rhonda, thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate it.
Great being here with you. Thank you. We'll be right back after this break. Would you like to have the recipes of the meals Melissa Kay prepares on her television program, House to House? Then we invite you to visit the website housetohouse.com, where you'll find her blog on which she posts many of the recipes she's used in each program. You will also find more details on the home decor and home improvement topics that she's discussed on a particular program. Did you want more information on a particular kitchen item that Melissa Kay used in, say, Show 1 or Show 5 or Show 10? Well, if you go to housetohouse.com, you can check out her blog that has the show description, the recipes, home tips, and other items featured on that particular show. Just look for the House to House show number that corresponds with each blog. Perhaps you want more information on a stylish set of measuring cups, or a cute set of mixing bowls, a beautiful serving tray, or a certain home decor item that she featured for a tablescape. Chances are good you'll find it on the website housetohouse.com inside the corresponding show blog. Housetohouse.com with Melissa Kay specializes in helping you excel at entertaining, decorating, accessorizing, and living, while also incorporating personal interest stories that affirm faith, family, freedom, and free market capitalism. Proceeds from housetohouse.com assist in supporting the continuation of the conservative broadcast platform of WVW Broadcast Network. Thank you for visiting housetohouse.com. That's HOWSETOHOUSE.com. All right, welcome back to House, and we are now going to make chicken pot pie and baked apples, because these are my favorites, by the way, but we also found out they're Laura Ingalls Wilder's favorites.
Right, you thought that, so we looked
it up and sure was.
She had a cookbook that, I don't know if it was actually her cookbook, but I know she made chicken pot pie, but maybe not this exact recipe, but the writer of the cookbook made a chicken pot pie, and it was somewhat similar to this. But what I'm trying to do is make recipes that fit into everyone's schedule, because I know people are really busy, so you can make it more complex if you want to, but this is actually a really easy recipe that doesn't take a lot of time.
Yeah, one of the things is crust. That's kind of what throws everybody off. That's going to take a lot of time.
Right, but you can, if you like making pie crust,
go for it.
You can make your own pie crust.
But if you're a busy person and want to make a chicken pot pie but think it's going to take too long to make the crust, how can they do it fast?
This is just store-bought pie crust, and what I do is just get an 8x8 pan and just press it in the pan like you see. You let it sit out.
So you pull this off.
Right.
It comes like this when you buy it in the store.
Right.
And you just pull it off of here and put it in the pan and start forming it around.
But you have to let it sit at room temperature for a little while so it's soft enough to
otherwise it'll
mold
break?
otherwise it will crack or break.
So how long you set it out?
Just 20 minutes or so, not real long. But like I said, if you like to make your own pie crust, then go for it.
By all means, go for it. All right, so otherwise that's the quicker way to do it.
Right, that's a quicker way to do it. This is the base of the chicken pot pie, and it is just melted butter and then a 1/3 cup of white minced, well, not minced onion. I used a fresh onion, and I just chopped it pretty small. And then a 1/3 cup of flour and salt and pepper. It's very easy, and then you bring that to a boil, and then you add broth and milk, and the exact measurements will be on my website. And then after that, you can put in any vegetables you'd like, but I use the frozen peas and carrots, and it's really simple. And sometimes I do green beans or corn. You could use fresh corn or canned corn. But these are just diced frozen peas and carrots, and you just let those sit out since they're frozen. And then diced potatoes.
Oh, diced potatoes.
And
you dice those?
Yes, I'm not going to use not quite all of those. And then a rotisserie chicken, which you can make your own chicken breasts.
But again, if you're in a hurry.
But if you're in a hurry, it makes it way easier just to use the rotisserie chicken. And then you just mix all this up, and you pour it in the pie crust. And then do you want to pour it in there?
Pour this in there?
Yeah.
Delta smelt that. Look, she came over. Uh-oh.
You have to stir it up. I don't want to
Delta
spill
and
it
I
all
both
over.
love chicken pot pie. Okay, Delta, just simmer down,
I might
girl.
not stir it up perfectly right now, but you stir it up, and then you can pour it. Don't spill it.
I'm going to try not to. Ooh, that
Try
pan's a
not
little
to
warm.
spill it.
So should I not mix this up a little more?
You can.
I can't. I mean, we're not in a hurry, are we?
I guess not, no.
I'm a regular Julia Childs, aren't I?
But like I said, you can add different things to this as well. You can add green beans, corn, fresh corn, frozen corn. But this is kind of the way you like it. But I do add green beans sometimes. But
oh, yeah. We've been eating chicken pot pie since we were married.
You also add salt and pepper to the base.
So you just pour that in there?
Just pour that in there. Try to keep it all in the pan.
Poor Delta. This is driving her nose crazy.
Okay, that's good.
I'm starving myself, Delta.
And then you just smooth that out.
You want me to do that?
Sure, you can do that.
All
While I figure out something to do with. Actually, we're just going to set this
smooth that out.
Back here.
You're like even, right? Oh, yeah. Set that down the floor so Delta can lick that pan.
I know. Never mind.
All right, so smooth that out. Is that good, babe?
That's perfect.
Does that pass your standards?
It does.
All right, what about the top crust?
Then, you just take this pie crust out of here, and it's definitely at room temperature. If it's obviously if it's frozen, it won't work. But
no pressure, babe.
I just messed that up a little bit. But you can kind of mix it together.
No one's going to know once it cooks. You can kind of
push it together with your fingers.
No one's going to know. Go ahead, we have time. No one's going to know once they cook it. It's not going to,
right.
Ooh, look, she broke the pie crust there.
If it's broke a little bit, you can fix it. And you can press it.
Look what you're doing. You're
you can mold it back, and you can make the little edges fluted and make it real pretty.
Oh, yeah, make it fluted for sure. That's beautiful.
And then you're also going to want to poke it with a fork before you put it in the oven. So.
It tastes much better when the edges are fluted, right, Delta? Mm-hmm. What do you think, Delta?
So it's not super pretty, but
we'll keep working on it. We have time. Because what about as far as butter? Do you put butter on the top of the crust?
No, I don't.
You don't put any butter on the top, so it gets really brown and buttery?
No, I don't.
Oh, really?
It gets brown on its own.
All right, I should start asking for butter on the top. All those Wisconsin folks listening, use all the butter you can. That's how we stay in business.
No, that's not very healthy.
I know, but we got to support the the dairy industry of Wisconsin.
Okay, and then you just can use a fork. You can make it prettier than that, but that's good for right now. And you just use a fork and poke a few holes in the pastry on top so that it can vent when it's in the oven.
So that is important. Otherwise, what happens if you don't do that?
It could kind of overflow easier. So it's just better to do that. But
and And then you put it in the oven.
At 425 for about 35 to 40 minutes. As soon as, just check the potatoes, poke the potatoes with a fork and make sure they're soft, and then it's ready.
Because if the potatoes are not ready, then you don't want to eat potatoes that are crunch like apples.
Right. You want the potatoes soft.
So 40 minutes?
Probably about 40 minutes at 425.
And then this is the final product, right?
And the top of that is not as pretty as this sometimes, but it works.
You're too hard on yourself. It's beautiful. And
Thank
Delta,
you.
I'm ready to eat as soon as you're ready to eat, Delta. So that we're going to have in just a few minutes. Now, what goes with this really well, I haven't seen Delta pay this much attention in a long time. So what goes well with that is baked apples, right?
These are, yes, they're baked apples, and they are just about 6 medium, well, they're probably medium Granny Smith apples. And I just peel them, of course, and then slice them like thin, like, what would you call that?
I don't know. Delicious is what I call it.
But just fairly thin slices of the apples, and you bake them or put them on the stovetop with a little butter, and you just saute them in the butter for probably about 6 to 7 minutes until they are soft. And then after that, you just add, I think it's a half a cup of brown sugar and 1/8 teaspoon of cinnamon. And you just mix it up, and when the apples are soft, it's ready.
And
it's very simple as well.
Obviously, you're serving it warm.
Right, you serve it warm,
It's
and
wonderful.
you can put ice cream over it if you prefer, or you can just have it like this, but it's also a very easy recipe.
And this is not dessert. I mean, you serve this with the chicken pot pie in a separate bowl.
Right.
Oh, it's excellent. Down here in the South, this is very popular. I'm sure it's popular everywhere, but we have a favorite country cafe we go to, and this is on
Yeah,
the
in the
menu.
South, they have a lot of baked apples.
Yeah, a lot of baked apples, which is really interesting because we don't have any apple orchards here.
No, we don't. I don't think apple orchards, it's too hot
It's too
here.
hot. So we were going to try to film a special show at Apple Orchard. No apple orchards around here, but we consume our share of apples for those
We do
states.
miss that from the north, going to the apple
So
orchard.
for those states that do raise apples, we do our share here in the South of consuming your produce. So keep growing them, but we don't grow any here in the Memphis Mid-South area because I think it's too hot.
It is too hot for the
Yeah.
orchards. The apples wouldn't make it.
Wouldn't make it. But anyway, all of this is on your website.
Yes, and the exact measurements and all of that will be on the website.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, you probably couldn't tell because we were sitting on them, but we were sitting with these behind us when we started out.
And they're a really popular fall pattern right now.
So these just came in.
They did, and the black and white check gingham is very in style right now.
And that's on your website at housetohouse.com.
It is.
Yeah. And as well as lots of other resources and things, and make great gifts for the holidays and things coming up. All right, so what are we going to be doing in the next few shows? I think next week show, my 16-year-old son will be making an appearance, making something I will not partake in, but I know some of you love it. What is it, babe?
He's going to be making guacamole, and he's been making it for quite some time, and it's his own little recipe, and it's really good.
He's seeing right off the set here, and
I
he's
think
excited.
you'll enjoy it.
We had to twist
if you
his
like
arm.
guacamole, you'll enjoy this recipe.
Yeah, well, I won't eat it either. But no offense, Logan.
If you just try it, you might like it.
Ugh, no, thank you. So no
think you
offense
would.
to Logan. I'm sure it's wonderful, but it's just not my speed. What else are we going to make to go with that?
You know, I haven't decided for
We're
sure.
going to do some kind of steak fajita or something.
Well, we might do that.
Yeah?
I'm still trying to decide.
And then our daughter is going to do a commentary on Lake of the Ozarks, where we hold our conference every year. You know, capitalism is under assault, and people are always talking about the environment. Well, we're going to show you Lake of the Ozarks, 1,150 miles of shoreline, where we hold our annual conference, as many of you know. Well, she went and did a little study and found out this lake is really a river that was dammed up during the height of the Depression, provided thousands of jobs, and not one penny of government money. All private money, built a dam, provides hydroelectricity to this day, 70,000 homes on the lake, 3.5 million visitors a summer. So it's providing jobs all up and down the economic ladder, as well as, well, a great place for wildlife, and it's providing clean energy through hydroelectricity. So all those who want to trash capitalism, Lake of the Ozarks is a perfect example of how capitalism actually betters the life of people. And by the way, that area, it was a cashless society until they came in and built roads and brought jobs. That's next week on House to House. Another great show. All of this is on the website at housetohouse.com, right?
Yes, it will be on the website.
All right. Well, we thank you for joining us, and we hope you'll tell your friends about the website and the show. And until next week, I'm Brannon Howse.
And I'm Melissa Kay.
Thanks for watching. Take care.